yeah.
Because I'm awesome.
Yep.
Oh boy, that's funny.
I am going to pick something very technical called. Uh,
Gravity
Aw.
forms
am I gonna pick that? Am I gonna pick Gravity Forms?
or generate press.
Am I gonna pick that or the book series that I'm reading?
Well, I'm gonna pick gravity. I don't know.
And it's funny because the stream. Whoa. I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna
Ooh, that was basic.
hang on just a second. Whenever I started the stream, it starts off with me saying, "I'm going to pick," and then it starts that right there. So that's kind of funny.
Oh, that is funny.
All right, so we're live on YouTube. We got a recording going. Okay. Yeah, I think I might pick the book series that I'm reading.
That's fine.
All right, so the agenda for today is going to be, well, let me actually get some tweets done.
Oh yeah, let me turn on some Do Not Disturb.
Yep, I turned mine on, but I did some tweets.
Let's see.
Could you tell I tweeted?
Yep, I saw your tweets.
Turn on Do
Michael
Not
Babcock
Disturb.
retweeted.
Okay. Do not disturb is now on.
I need to set up a Discord automation that will, whenever we go live, we'll set up a thing to YouTube.
A Discord,
Yeah.
even a Zoom automation?
No.
Yeah, you need a
Hey.
Me 6 thing.
What can that do?
So it would post to the general channel on Discord when we go live?
Oh. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you could do stuff like that.
Oh, fancy.
Isn't it, though?
God, all this Google stuff I'm picking on the show. Somebody needs to check my temperature or something.
Oh, let's see. Maybe you do need to. Do you say check your temperature? Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
Huh.
Huh.
What were you gonna tell me? I need to get tested?
I don't know. Depending on what I felt like, possibly. So let me know when you tweet, because then I'm gonna retweet, and then we'll go from there.
It's done.
Okay.
I think I might need to get Night Owl back because I'm not really a fan of the native Twitter app on the Mac. It's not very fun. Although I wonder if that'll change at all on the M1. I doubt it because I think it's a Catalyst app. But
All right. Are we ready to do this thing?
Yes.
hold on.
Almost.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what my pick was.
All right.
So, I was looking at our podcast on the what's it called? iTunes podcast directory.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because since we do have outtake shows that are explicit, we are marked as explicit.
Oh, that sucks.
And
I mean,
but
that makes sense, but
what's ironic and very funny is podcast category education right next to it E for explicit. I'm like,
Wow. That's kind of amusing.
It really is. Let's wait for the people to walk by outside my window.
Oh, wow, I can actually hear talking.
I can too.
That's funny.
Conveniently, that happens right before we start the episode.
Yep.
Right.
That-
It's like, hey, people, hope you don't mind being streamed on YouTube, because guess what? It happened.
It's totally a thing.
Right.
Yep.
It's funny.
All right, we ready, folks?
I think so.
Yes.
All right. And 3, 2. Wait a minute. Put my phone on Do Not Disturb while I'm thinking about it. There we go. Like, wait, am I forgetting anything? Because knowing me,
You're going to get like 50 calls during the podcast.
I hear somebody's voiceover.
You hear mine.
Oh,
Oh, I don't hear it.
I did. All right. 3, 2. I hear typing.
What?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to see
Oh, okay.
somebody. What? Okay. I know what that was now. All right, I'm ready.
All right. For the third time, let's try this again.
Right.
This is normal. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the iACast. All right, with me today, I have the usual group. We have Taylor Arndt
Hello, everyone.
and Jason Earls.
Hello, everybody.
All right, we have a great episode for you today. And, we've been gone for a few weeks. We had a kind of a crazy storm, and then we wanted to get back on a regular schedule. So we're back with a new episode to talk about all the interesting news that's happened recently, and some rumors and news and a bunch of different things that have happened. So let's jump right into it. Our main topic for today is the first news item, and that's the HomePod being discontinued. And I have very mixed opinions on this.
I do too. I kind of understand like why Apple discontinued the HomePod. Also, they discontinued the HomePod. It's okay, HomePod buddy. I still love you. As I pat my HomePod.
Didn't we have a hashtag for a while, Pet the HomePod?
I think we did.
Hilarious.
I was just trying not to pat the screen because I didn't want music to happen, but
Right.
Right.
that would have actually been really funny.
I think I have a picture of headphones sitting on a HomePod.
Oh yeah, the Andrea cans.
Yeah.
But yeah, like on one hand, I understand why they did it, because it was at launch a $350 smart speaker that
Yep.
couldn't do terribly much more than play music. I mean, yes, it sounded good, but it's not what people were looking for in their smart speakers, especially considering the likes of the Echo devices, the Google Home hubs or homes at the time, and the HomePod's been around for like 4 years. So in one respect, I kind of understand it, and the HomePod Mini does have some features that the big HomePod doesn't have, regarding the U1 chip and everything. But at the same time, the HomePod does sound so good. And as good as the Mini is, and as great sales figures as the Mini is, because of its price point and everything, you can't argue that it just does not sound as good as the big HomePod.
Right. But I think, like, if we're thinking about it, like, the majority of consumers, they may not be, like, in depth, like, with audio, and they may not, understand that, that the HomePod, sounds the way it is, and that they want to pay for that. Because a lot of them just want to listen to music, and they want it to be portable. And, so that's where I think it's coming down to. Like, I understand why they discontinued it, but yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, personally, I don't have a big HomePod, but that's because in a small apartment, I just don't have a lot of room.
Right. And, they did say that they are still going to, push out software updates for the big HomePods and support them via AppleCare, which is good because I just got AppleCare last year.
Oh. That would stink otherwise.
Right. But, like, it's... I really want them to come out with like a bigger HomePod for, $199. That's what I'm hoping for, even though they've publicly said to, I think it was like iMore or whatever, that they were in fact focusing their efforts on HomePod Mini. Because let's think about it like this. The big HomePod, Apple slashed the price to $299, right? So for $200, you could get 2 HomePod Minis for less money than one bigger HomePod. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to have the bigger, bassier sound of the HomePod, but at least you would get stereo audio and stuff.
Well, let's leave this part for the end because we're already kind of diving
Yeah, I
in.
know, right? I got thoughts. I'm sorry.
But the other bit of news is the iMac Pro completely was discontinued, and they're only selling them while supplies last.
That I'm not sad about.
In a way, I am. I think it was a great product. But I think we're about to see something new come from Apple. And as usual, we will be doing a live stream of that event. At least that's the plan. We'll be doing a live stream of the Apple event when it happens later this month, because we do know for certain, right, that there is an Apple event?
I don't think we do know for certain. I just think speculation's high that there may be one.
Okay, I thought there was.
At least last I checked. But March 23rd is the rumored date for the Apple event. I also haven't really looked at the news today, so things may have changed, but last I knew it was a hypothetical thing at this point. I mean, a highly likely thing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, and I think it's because they're discontinuing these devices, and the fact that we have so much information in the code about our next topic, and that's potential AirTags coming soon, because there's mention of them in the Find My app
Yes, there is.
on the beta.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome, because I've saw YouTube videos. Obviously, I don't have the beta myself, but I've seen YouTube videos that have mentioned it. Obviously, when trying to prepare for the podcast, just kind of looking at all the news but yeah, definitely pretty cool, and hopefully they work. I mean, Tile is nice, but it'd be nice to have something built in and integrated, for finding stuff.
Right. And I guess Apple's opening up the Find My protocol so that companies like Tile could take advantage of it as well. And it's nice to see that they are opening up more of their, frameworks and things.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that's because there's been so much blame for antitrust and things between them and Google and things like that they're trying to make sure that they stay, open.
Ahead of that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because Google's had a lot of problems with that because they're in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The last bit of news that we have is, and I won't make any jokes, Jason. I won't do it. Those will be left for off the podcast. The Braille Sense 6. And I only make this joke because if you want to learn more, head to hims-inc.com/bs6. And I'm not kidding. Take all the jokes from that you can.
Exactly.
Basically, we have the Braille Sense 6. And it was announced this week at CSUN. From what I've been able to tell, it was one of the biggest announcements because there weren't a lot of announcements this week. And the Braille Sense 6 dropped the Polaris naming. And it's Android 10, 128 gigs of hard drive space, 802.11 AC wireless, a battery that while under load will drain 21% in an hour and a half if doing the max amount of work. That's the only battery statistic we can get. It has SD card slot. It has 2 USB-A ports, 2 USB-C ports, a headphone jack that supports microphone. What is that called, Jason?
I think it's TRRS, actually, I believe is a technical standard, which is basically what this microphone that I'm using is. which is think the headphone jack, the older headphone jacks on the iPhones or the headphone jack on the Mac. So it's that single microphone combo jack.
Mm-hmm. And it has all that. It has new software installed, and the person doing the presentation was using Zoom on the BrailleSense. So that's pretty promising. The only concerns I have are if it's going to get Android 11 and up, and what how well the software is going to work, because the Polaris had a lot of issues with deleting documents and things like that.
Yeah, the BrailleSense Polaris is a very interesting device. I think it also actually, Michael, in addition to the headphone jack, I think they said it also has a stereo line-in port as well, so you could connect music things to it. Binaural microphones really would work, I would imagine, to it.
Nice.
Did you mention that it has 6 gigs of RAM?
No, I did not. So yeah.
Yeah, nope. You didn't.
Yeah,
mention
it's got
it.
6 gigs of RAM, an 8-core CPU.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if they announced the clock speeds of it.
They didn't.
So it really does seem like a very interesting device, and
It's going to cost $57.99. Come
Yeah.
out in June. Yeah.
Wow. That's a
we do
lot
know
of
the
money.
battery will be user replaceable though, because they talked about that at the CSUN announcement, I think.
Mm-hmm. They do offer financing and trade-ins for your older devices, so those are options to get you a lot closer in price to those devices. So
Yeah, it's a very interesting device. I just, I do worry what the battery life's really going to be like.
mm-hmm.
Right, and also if it can, like I said, note takers have a problem, where they fall behind mainstream, and so that's the other concern too. Is that you buy this $6,000 device almost, well, it's already running 2 versions behind of Android almost at this point. 12 is beta, so that's the other thing too. These note takers, I mean, they're great for what they are, but it's like a specialized thing, and they're not always up to date.
Mm-hmm. Like I said to you guys, I think off the show, if I were to get a note taker, it would probably be the BrailleSense, the BrailleSense 6. It's so weird that they don't have a name for it now.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Editor's cut here. There was a breakup during Taylor's sentence, but I think you can piece together, remove the silence, and it should be able to come together okay. So just
Yeah, that's what I've been doing when people break up, is just shortening the silences. I thought that was on my end. I didn't know that was Zoom as a whole.
Did it just do that for you?
Yeah, it broke up for me too. I heard her break, but I thought that was just on my end. I didn't know that was everybody.
Okay. So I thought it was just my bad internet connection occasionally.
Yeah, it was Zoom wide.
Yep.
Okay. So, but it'll. I think it should be fine.
Yeah, and you've been doing this weird thing off and on for me where you break up slightly and it makes you jump slightly to the right channel and then back in the center as it fixes
Oh, weird.
itself.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
recording.
So-
I'm recording my computer, so it'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes that's the good thing about recording right to the computer.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yep.
Because if you're the one who's having problems, it will.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Are we about done with that topic, you think? Or do you have more?
I would say we're pretty much done with it.
Yep.
I think we could devote a whole episode to that,
Yeah, probably.
which I would actually love to have somebody on to talk about Braille and,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
and note takers. And
Yeah, that would.
all right.
Because I'm not a note taker user myself. I have a Braille Edge, but that's it, and a half-functioning Braille Edge at best. So it'd be nice to have somebody, who actually, uses Braille more than us or whatever, to just talk about note takers, because I think that'd be a really good topic. But yeah, sorry, Michael, I cut you off.
No, you're fine.
No, we
All
were
right.
cut anyway.
Yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. So, and we could have a whole episode on note takers, but I think we would want to have somebody on that can talk more about Braille and the note taker, you know, mainstream versus note taker, because I think that would be a very cool discussion. So
Yes.
Yeah, I do too, because I mean, I've used the Braille Sense in the past, but the Braille Sense I used was, I think, even before the U2. So it was, definitely not any of the Android based Braille Sense devices. So
another thing that's happened, the last news topic I really could think about is Android 12 is in technical preview. We really haven't talked about that. And I hear it brings a whole lot of user interface changes, but not a lot of, you're not going to be able to notice it very much with TalkBack.
yeah, that's true. I have been playing a little bit with the beta. After a couple false starts, I eventually got it on my Pixel. I accidentally installed the version of Android that the AOSP version, so it didn't actually have a screen reader, which is why I wasn't
Oh,
getting
no.
speech.
Oh no, how'd you fix that?
I reflashed it.
Very
Because
carefully.
I was
Yeah. Very carefully.
Yeah, very carefully. So, yeah, I reflashed it because you can actually go to the Google developer site and you can actually use their online flash tool, and it'll basically do all the work for you.
Online? That's cool.
It downloads the image to the device. You have to enable some things like OEM unlock and whatnot. It'll download the image to the device, and it'll tell you when it's safe to unplug your phone, at which point it should be booting into the beta of Android.
That's fancy.
I know.
And talk about the security implications there. It's Google, and they have all the security keys and all that. But could you imagine if somebody were to spoof that and be able to put a not legit version of Android from a website?
Yeah, I know. I did actually think about that, and then I stopped thinking about it.
That might have been a good idea.
But like I said, I do have Android 12 installed. I don't notice too much of a difference, although I'm my Pixel's not my primary driver. My primary driver is my iPhone, so what I can say though is that 12 does seem to be relatively stable, and along with the introduction of TalkBack 9.1, which is not specific to Android 12, I do think that the Android experience is going to improve a bit, which is nice and awesome to see.
Yeah. So it's really cool that we have the ability to flash these devices remotely. I think that's really neat. But we'll have more information about what's in the beta for Android 12 in a future episode. But I think it's really cool that we have the ability to do that and to try these things before they come out. iOS, Android, Windows through the Windows Insider program and things like that.
I think the one thing that was kind of annoying to me though is, and maybe it's just I did it in a way that made this happen, but it ended up forcing me to reset my phone to flash the version of Android 12 onto it. And of course, when I had the version without TalkBack, I didn't mind resetting my phone.
Yeah.
And I think if you downgrade back to Android 11, I believe it'll make you reset as well. But
Probably.
they do tell you that. So
I love how my watch made a noise, even though I have. Typically, if I mute my phone, my watch will mute with it, but not this time.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, usually it mirrors, but not this time. That's interesting. All right. So for our ad part of the show today, I want to talk to you guys about app development services that's offered by iAccessibility. iAccessibility offers app development services for iOS and Android at $50 an hour, where we will build your app from the ground up based on your website or whatever app you're trying to build. And the app will be accessible and usable by all users unless it's a game that you really need specific, use cases. We'll still try to make it as accessible as possible, though. So we've built apps like VO Starter. We've built apps like Pocket Braille, Blind Bargains, ACB Link, and that's just a few of the different apps on a lot of platforms that have been created. So $50 an hour, minimum of $1,000, and you can have your app in the iOS and Google Play app stores. So you can go to iaccessibility.net to learn more, and we will be promoting that more on the website. So keep a lookout, and we'll have more information. So thanks for listening to the iACast, and now on to our main topic for today. And we've already talked a little bit about that, and it's Apple discontinuing, products like the HomePod. And do you guys, I feel like this is the most products that Apple's discontinued at one time. And, Microsoft has done it. I mean, they just continued a whole store line. Google is the project killer. They are known for that. Do you guys think Apple's kind of jumping on board that train?
I think in a way they are. I really think what they're trying to do is they're trying to streamline their product line, and not have so many variations of things around, especially in the case of the iMac Pro. I keep wanting to call it the Mac Pro. That is a product. It is a different product. But the iMac Pro, because they really want us all to move over to Apple Silicon, which, I'm personally fine with. So I really think that's part of it. And, as far as the HomePod, I like to think that they have something new planned to replace this beautiful, soft, lovely mesh big HomePod that I'm totally rubbing a finger against right now because it's fun.
Hashtag pet the HomePod.
Yeah, exactly. But I really hope that they do have something to replace the bigger HomePod with at some point soon because, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing with that is that I think, like I said, a lot of these companies are doing that right now. They're just trying to streamline and, Google's been doing it for years. Microsoft kills things. But, Apple, like I said, this is really, a first. Like, they don't really do this all that often. And so either one of two things. They either have a lot more products coming and they need to get rid of stuff, or they're just trying to streamline because of COVID and everything, obviously. But we've been in COVID for over a year now, so who knows, if they're just trying to get things under control and under, streamlined, or if they are trying to, add new products, but they need to get rid of some first.
And it might just be that they don't plan to update. Well, actually, you know what? I think the HomePod runs on the processor that the iPhone 7 runs, isn't it, Jason?
The big HomePod, yeah, it's the A8.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's the next on the chopping block this year, guys.
iPhone 7, you think, next?
Well, I think, the 7 has the A9, right?
I don't remember.
Or no, wait a minute. No, I think the A8 is from the iPhone 6, actually.
But I remember the 6S is the last version. iOS runs on the 6S. And so I bet the iPhone 7 will be the final version that 15 will run on.
Oh.
Yeah, that's possible. At the same time, they did actually change the foundation, according to some tech sites. They did change the foundation of what HomePod OS was. So for a while, it was based on a foundation of iOS. And then, I don't remember when this happened, but supposedly they ended up changing the foundation from iOS to tvOS so that it wouldn't have as much, code and things in the OS that isn't really needed and used by the HomePod. So I was kind of not expecting to see the cancellation of the big HomePod for another year or two yet.
Mm-hmm.
I was a bit surprised, but maybe, I was going to say maybe this has something to do too with the silicon chip shortage, but that would probably be more to do with the Mac, I would think, maybe, than the HomePod.
Well, it's interesting because I'm wondering if they're going to rename the HomePod Mini eventually to something else, or if we're going to have the HomePod Pro come out and then put a new device in later on in the HomePod category.
Right, or the HomePod Max.
Right. Or the HomePod Pro Max.
I don't think
Well,
they'll do well.
If you think
I
about
lie.
it,
12 Pro Max.
on the Mac, we don't have a MacBook. We have the Mac Mini, the MacBook Air, and the MacBook Pro. We don't have a MacBook or the Mac.
Oh, right.
So that might be kind of the landscape we're looking at for HomePod for a while.
Maybe.
Because if you notice, the MacBook that came out like 2015, 2016?
Yeah, 15, I think 15.
It was short-lived as well. So, we have the Air and the Pro that are still around, but the flagship name was discontinued quick on that line too. So that's kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah, it really is. And I think the one thing that's keeping me from like being complete and utter 100% distraught that the big HomePod is being discontinued is just the fact that and I think I said this before, that Apple did say that they are still going to issue software updates for the big HomePods for the time being and support it still through AppleCare.
I'm wondering if you put two HomePod minis in a room, if you get the same quality sound as one big HomePod.
I think you would get the same overall quality sound because the HomePod Mini does seem like it sounds very similar to the big HomePod, just without that deep, low bass that the big ones can hit.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. Also, there was a weird, so I guess editors note, there was a weird, I heard a weird noise on Zoom. It was almost like a pop. So I'm not sure if that got into the recording, but it kind of startled me. So either way, if that is in the recording, that's what it was. I don't know what it was caused by.
I didn't hear it.
I didn't either.
Okay, well, sorry again. I just thought, maybe it was one of my neighbors. But either way, I just thought that if it is in the recording, we should cut it out. But anyways.
No, I didn't hear it.
Okay.
Right. Future note, Taylor, since we are technically cut, if you do have something like that to say, if you could preface it with the word cut, that would be really helpful.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
It just makes it easier when you're doing things like seeking through files or whatever.
Okay.
I'm going to be editing this particular show, so I'm going to know, but, for future reference, if you preface it with the word cut, then that would be helpful.
Yep. All right. Does anybody want to speak on that topic, or do you want me to count in and continue?
I think we're good. Unless you have something else, Taylor.
Nope.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, and it's I don't know. It's to the point where when we look at these devices, it's hard to my train of thought just keeps going all over the place, but the more I think about things, maybe this is a way for tech companies to dispel rumors and leaks by just saying, we're going to discontinue this, we're going to change this. And so it kind of throws people off to know what the next step is going to be.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think though in the case of the iMac Pro being discontinued, we all know it's most likely going to be because we're going to be seeing an Apple Silicon based iMac. Now, whether we see that on March 23rd, which I personally don't think we'll see, I will say that on the show, and I would be very happy to be wrong, but I don't think we're going to see that on the 23rd.
I think we will. I think that's going to be the focus is iMacs this year.
I don't know. I think we might see things about AirTags and iPad Pros and stuff, but we'll see. If I'm wrong, I'll be happy.
See, maybe we need to come up with the iAccessibility pool, because what I think we're going to see, and take your bets, people.
Okay.
I think we're going to see iMacs, colored iMacs. I don't think we're going to see iPads just yet, but that's just me. Now, in saying that, iPads have come out in March before. So it's not out of the norm. But iMacs used to be used for education as well. And so if they bring out the colored iMacs like they had for education in the past and kind of market it towards that, I could definitely see that being a March thing, and plus, iPad Pro typically has an 18-month life cycle. It's only been 11 months since iPads have come out. So, in other words, this is Michael trying to say, please let my iPad be relevant in April.
Well, I have to agree with Jason on this one, Michael. Because I think, like I said, with all the evidence and stuff, I think it's going to be AirTags and the stuff. But again, if I'm wrong, I'll be more than happy to admit it. But I really think I have to agree with Jason, Michael.
And who knows? We may see all these things. I doubt it, but
Right.
That'd be crazy.
No, you know what's really going to happen? Apple's not actually going to have a product event on the 23rd. They're going to just announce their new products quietly on their site. And then we'll all be wrong.
and it could happen. It could happen.
So I do think, though, regardless, like it's as sad as I am to see the big HomePod, be discontinued, and like I said, me personally, I'm not terribly upset about the iMac Pro's cancellation. I'm more excited because, that just tells me to watch out for the iMac. Not that I'm going to get one, but it's still always fun to see what they're going to come out with. But, I still enjoy my HomePod. I still plan on using it until something happens. Like, if nothing else, using it until Apple decides they're not going to update it anymore. Whenever that may be. So.
Well, and it tells me that them discontinuing these things, it just, especially on the iMac side, it means that they have something new coming around the corner. Because, and they may decide that the Pro line of iMac just isn't needed anymore because of what the A1 and A1X will do for these devices. I mean,
you mean the M1?
Yeah, M1.
It's a processor, Michael. It's not steak sauce.
Right.
Right? That needs to be the name of an episode sometime.
Right.
Our previous episode title we came up with is going to be it.
Yeah, but that would be hilarious. 156. It's a processor, not steak sauce.
Right. So, but no, and I wonder if that's why they started with A4 as their.
I don't know.
Could you imagine Apple now introducing our first processor line, the A1?
And then could you imagine the hilarity in covering the lawsuits if that were to even happen? Like,
Right.
that'd be funny.
Anyway, would that? Okay. Would that be a coprocessor for Intel, the A1, because it has to go along with it to make it better?
I don't know. Would it be?
I mean,
That's
maybe.
your call.
I mean, if we're comparing Intel to steak there, would the would you need the A1 processor from Apple to?
They'll call it, I don't know. I was going to say Steak Lake, but that just sounds weird.
Oh my God.
Dinner Lake.
Dinner Lake. All right. So, well, there you go, Intel. When you come out with that chip that everybody wants, just say time for dinner, Lake.
Exactly.
Anyway, I think this is the most jokes we've told on a podcast in a while.
Right.
I really think that the M1 M1X will really be like, there's no Pro version of that. There's no way to up the processor on that. So there's, on the Intel iMacs, you could get, i5, i7, i9, and, you have the better display on the Pro, which they can still do the better display, but if the display is already going to be amazing in these new iMacs with the new chips, then they don't have a need to do that. So there may not need to be an iMac Pro because the new iMac will just be able to boast that it's Pro already with the built-in Apple Silicon.
And that was kind of my thinking when I, first read about the cancellation of the iMac Pro. I was actually thinking as you were talking, and I don't really think Apple's going to do this. If they came out with, instead of the M1X or the M1 II, having the M1 Pro. But I really don't think they would do that, considering they already have products in their Pro line that have the M1, and that would confuse people.
Right.
But
I just think that they're going to I think that now that we're looking at coming, slowly out of COVID, they're going to be looking for the best way to sell their products. And if you could just say, look at these shiny new products we have in our stores. Aren't these amazing? People are going to want them. And especially if they start doing these colors like they've shown on concept art and things like that are rumored, that's just going to be amazing.
I mean, look at how popular the new Macs have been already. Because working from home, and they've got that long battery life and the slightly upgraded camera because of the ISP.
Oh, and I'm doing all this on an M1 Mac, the recording and Zoom and all that, and I keep telling people it's the better of the two machines. I mean, this is still a terrible camera, but I'm looking at my face on here, and it looks a lot better than my other Mac did by far. So, Apple's really gone a long way with what they're doing. All right. Do you guys have any final comments we want to give before we wrap up today?
Steak.
Yes.
Oh my God.
No, I'm kidding, but it's very interesting to see, these product cancellations, because it really, I keep flitting between I'm sad, especially for the HomePod, and it's because there's going to be something new. Like, a lot of me is just like, this has to be because there's something new. So it's going to be very interesting to see, what actually ends up happening.
Well, the interesting thing, I want to point this out. The interesting thing about the HomePod Mini is you don't need to plug those into the wall.
Right.
And that's really interesting. I mean, you could build a USB-C. You could buy a USB-C hub, plug it into the wall, and have 5 HomePod Minis hooked up to that thing.
In a power strip, yeah.
Well, not even a power strip, just a USB-C hub.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be plugged in the wall. Wow, I'm not thinking.
Yeah,
Or a battery pack.
You could hook it up to a battery pack. And
Wow.
so that makes it almost more usable than the Echo
Yes.
Dot.
Yes.
And so I think that's why Apple really wants to focus on that, because they're like, there's so much possibility here.
I wouldn't blame them.
I mean, it sounds better than any Echo, I'm sure. I don't know. I haven't heard one yet. But
Well, reviews say they do.
so, you put a few in a room, you're going to get good audio. The only thing that you can't do is use them as standard stereo TV speakers.
You can. They just won't. I just don't think they'll do Dolby Atmos and stuff that the big HomePods do.
How would you use, Apple TV speakers, but how would you use them as standard TV speakers?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I misheard. I thought you said Apple TV. Yeah, you can't use. Well, you can't even use a big HomePod as standard TV
No, you
speakers.
can't.
So that's not new.
Now, could you imagine if they came out with the HomePod Sub, where you had 2 of the Apple speakers, the HomePod Minis, as your regular speakers? Now, that's a possibility.
That's actually funny that you mentioned that, because I was talking to somebody pre-show about that, and what they had said is Apple comes out with this sub and then gives it 2 USB-C ports so that you can plug 2 HomePods directly into the sub and then plug the sub into the wall or something. I don't know if that is what they're going to do, but that would certainly be interesting, and it would help with the idea that I want to have stereo speakers. Cut. Wow.
Outtake.
Right. I don't know what I just I don't know what I just did, but it's recorded.
I don't know what you did either, but it was just funny because it took so long for you to recover from.
I stereo speaker. Oh man.
My goodness gracious. I was like, I don't know where this is going.
No, I know where it was going. I just apparently couldn't say the word speakers.
Well, right. I wasn't sure what was going to come out of your mouth, rather.
I wasn't sure what was going to come out of my mouth.
All right.
All right. All right. 3, 2, 1. it'll definitely help with, the idea of I want to have stereo speakers, but I need two outlets if they decided to go that route. So, who knows?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do. I mean, if they bring out a HomePod sub, I will press that buy button immediately.
Right.
I'm not kidding. If they did that, I would buy a HomePod sub. And it kind of makes sense, guys. I think that's actually probably what they're going to do, because it would make money for them. If you had to buy two HomePod minis and an iPod sub, let's price the sub at $200. They're making $50 more off of you than if you bought one HomePod. Now, granted, they're not going to make $600 or $700 if you had to buy two regular HomePods. But who's going to do that anyway?
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I think, though, the only downside to this is, as it stands right now, if you were looking to buy HomePods new that would do Dolby Atmos, you can't, because that was a feature specific to the bigger HomePods, and I don't know if it's because the A8 is more powerful than the S5 or whatever CPU the minis have inside. I think it's the S5. Or if it's just that the big HomePod has more microphones and it's not limited to the chip. But as of right now, you can't buy new HomePods directly from Apple if you want to do Dolby Atmos.
Actually, you can for right now during the time of this recording. But
I didn't even see a link in the store for the HomePod when I last looked.
cut.
So many cuts, jeez.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, our shows used to be worse.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, some of my videos are awful. I have to cut every
Right.
5 minutes sometimes because.
But when I went to the store, Michael, they had a link for the HomePod Mini under the Apple Music link, which is where they tend to put the HomePods anyway, but they didn't have one for the big HomePod anymore. But that was on the website. That was, from Apple.com. I didn't look in the Apple Store app.
Nope, they're still there.
Where?
In the Apple Store app.
That's interesting because you can't get to them. I couldn't get to them from Apple.com.
Yeah, they are still in the HomePod. I mean, the HomePod.
HomePod store. That's nice.
The Apple Store app for $2.99.
Interesting.
3, 2, 1. So I just looked, and they're still in the Apple Store app for $2.99. Yeah, you could pick either one.
Oh, they have the space gray ones back?
Yeah, they're showing both of them. At least when I looked, it showed a picture showing both of them.
Oh, that's interesting because I knew for a while that they only had the white ones around. And it's very interesting then that I couldn't get to them because on the Apple Store, on Apple's website, if you wanted to see the HomePods, the only way I was able to find them is by going under the Apple Music link, and they talked about the HomePods and the AirPods Max. And the only HomePod they listed was the HomePod Mini, whereas the big HomePod used to be there. So that's interesting that they still show up in the
Yep, they are in the Apple Store app. Yeah.
And of course, you can buy them from other retailers. It's not just Apple
Yeah.
that sells the HomePods, but
And since they're discontinued, I would wait till you could get them from Best Buy or somewhere else where they will be much cheaper.
Yep.
just keep in mind if you're going to go that route that we don't know how long Apple's going to support the big HomePods with software updates. Even all we know is that they are still going to support them.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our show today. Jason, to end us off for today, where can people find you online and what's your pick?
So my pick is, funnily enough, not an Apple product, but rather a Google product.
I just wait. It'll be discontinued at some point. No.
Right.
But probably will next week.
Specifically, my pick is TalkBack version 9.1. And I pick it because it enhances TalkBack by allowing you to use multi-finger gestures finally. It has a Braille keyboard, although the Braille keyboard's been there since 8.4, I think it was. But I really find I like these the multi-finger gestures. I like the new unified TalkBack menu. And I just love this version of TalkBack compared to the older ones because I can disable the angular gestures and the proximity sensor silencing speech. I can turn that off now because you can now tap with 2 fingers to pause speech.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And the magic tap gesture for iOS users is there, and so it's really nice. They don't have the rotor as such. I mean, you can't rotate 2 fingers on the screen or whatever, but they definitely do have an easy way to navigate granularity and stuff now, and it's all customizable pretty much. So, TalkBack 9.1, it's pretty nice. So that is my pick. And as far as where people can find me, you can find me producing content for iAccessibility. You can email me at jason@iaccessibility.net. And you can also follow me on Twitter at JDE91. I know that I have been giving my Facebook out in past episodes. I have decided that I will no longer give that out. I no longer have the app installed. So yeah, those are the ways you can follow me, find me, emailing me, and following me on Twitter. And if you catch me in Clubhouse, then feel free to say hi.
All right. Taylor, what's your pick for the week, and where can people find you online?
Okay, so my pick is a little technical, so I'm going to explain it. I pick GeneratePress, and for those who don't know, GeneratePress is a WordPress theme. And a WordPress theme is basically a thing that will help enhance the visuals of your site. So it basically helps make your site look the way it looks in a short version. I mean, like a short description. So what it will do is it is really awesome because you can customize every part of your site. And the cool part is that it's fully accessible. There are 2 versions, free and premium. The free theme is literally just you go download it from wordpress.org theme directory. And the paid one is a paid plugin. I believe it's $59 a year or what? I can't remember the lifetime, like $249 lifetime, Michael?
I didn't see a I think it's $250 lifetime.
$250. Yeah. Okay. So I really love GeneratePress. Thanks to Michael Babcock and Demossi Thomas for mentioning those to me in a Clubhouse room. Where you can find me online, I am all over the web, literally. I have a YouTube channel that I would like you guys to check out, Taylor's Tech Talks, and that also has a podcast now. So if you like hearing from me, you can hear from me in both of those places. I also am on Twitter and Clubhouse. You can email me. I have email at Taylor, Taylor, at iaccessibility.net. And follow me on Twitter, Taylor_Arndt22. So TAYLOR underscore Arndt, ARNDT22. And I am also producing content for iAccessibility.
All right. So my pick for this week is a book series I'm reading called Expeditionary Force. And the first book in the series is called Columbus Day. The author is, I believe his name is Craig Allenson, and he has written several books in this series, and it's an awesome book series. It's a sci-fi series about aliens taking over Earth, and about how humanity kind of steals a ship and goes out in the galaxy to kind of protect Earth. So there's an AI that's hilarious, and I'm not going to give anything more away about the series, but check it out. Highly recommend it. I'm on the 3rd book right now, and I've been reading it for about 2 weeks, and each book's about 15 hours on Audible. So that tells you how dedicated into this series I am. So highly recommend it. As for where you could find me, you can find me producing content for iAccessibility. You can email me at Mike Doise. That's MikeDoise at iAccessibility.net. I'm Mike Doise on Twitter, and on Facebook, just search for Michael Doise. And you can go to michaeldoise.com for my website, and I have a YouTube channel that I'm trying to make time to work on. And I have content everywhere, and just very excited to be on Clubhouse. I'm there as well, so find me on Clubhouse. Just search for Michael Doise. And we even now, here's an announcement. We have a club. We're all fancy and everything. We have the iACast Network Club. In fact, after this recording, we will be on Clubhouse doing a after episode kind of a discussion to talk about these things. So come hang out with us on Clubhouse as we talk about today's episode. So we hope that you have enjoyed this episode of the iACast, and we'll be back in 2 weeks for another episode. And it's been awesome getting to talk about all these things with you guys, Jason and Taylor. I want to thank everybody that's been on the stream and everybody that will listen once the episode comes out. And we will be back next time for a new episode. So until then, take care and keep playing with new technology. So,
Yep.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Man, we